I'm Sandy Reese, Chief Encouragement Officer here at Get Fully Funded, where we show small nonprofits how to raise the money they need to fund their operations. Today, I've got a couple of grant tips for you. A lot of people are very curious about grants. They call us all the time and say, hey, what can I do to go after grants? Can you help me get grants? What's it going to take? I think for people who are new to fundraising, or if you're a founder and just started your nonprofit, going after something that you've heard of that's understandable. It's very common. There are several things that you need to do, though, and have in place if you want to go after grants and be successful. The first is you want to make sure that you do some research and have foundations that are a good fit with your organization. And I often call it a hand-in-glove fit. So I have one of these little stretchy gloves here. I'm just stick it on my hand, just to illustrate that you want to have a list of foundations that fit your programs like that. It's a hand-in-glove fit. It's very close. What you don't want to do is go find every foundation you can and send a generic proposal or a generic letter. It's not going to work. You have to customize your proposal to the foundation and make sure that what you want to do is what they want to fund, and it just fits that closely. So that's the first tip, is make sure you've got a hand-in-glove fit. The second tip is know your numbers. You need to have some history with your programs. This is why grants are really hard to get when your organization is brand new, because a lot of foundations want to see a couple of years of history. They want to know that your programs work. And the only way that you can show them that is if you can say, over the last 2 years, we've served this many people, or our programs have done X, and here's the results. Here's how we've changed lives. So you want to know those numbers. If you can't explain in a grant to a foundation or a funder exactly the difference that your programs make and how you're changing lives and how many and why it matters that your programs even exist, you're not going to get a grant. So you have to know your numbers. You have to be measuring success. You have to really dig in and think about what your programs are all about and the outcomes that you're trying to get. So that's tip number 2, know your numbers. And tip number 3, you need a detailed budget. This was always my Achilles heel when I was a grant writer. I had great narratives and I could accurately describe what we were doing, but my budgets, they were crap. And what the real problem was is I didn't have enough detail in the budget. I didn't have enough numbers that accurately explained in numerical format what we were doing and what the expenses were. You know, my program budget might have only had 3 or 4 line items on it, and it just wasn't enough to detail out. And I remember one time calling a foundation after I got the rejection letter. I called them and said, what can I do to make my proposal stronger? Which, by the way, is a great idea. You might want to try that. And she said to me, your budget section was really weak. And I said, thank you. And would you tell me what that means? Because clearly I don't know. And thankfully, this woman spent a little time on the phone with me and explained a little more detail that she wanted to see in that budget. And it was great. As a matter of fact, she called me back about 6 weeks later and said, hey, we have another grant that's coming up. I'd love to include your organization. Would you send me a new proposal? I did. Long story short, I got a grant from that foundation that time, and it was amazing. It was a great opportunity. So you got to have a good budget. If you're not a numbers person, get somebody to help you with this, because you've got to have the detail that explains in numbers exactly what you're saying in your narrative. Those two have to match. So if you can get those things right, get that hand-in-glove fit, know your numbers, have a detailed budget, you're going to be way more likely to be successful in getting grants. And that is part of a healthy revenue program for your organization. You want diversified revenue streams. You want money coming in from lots of different places. And if you have a strong grant pipeline, that's part of a healthy fundraising program. You can get more tips like this at getfullyfunded.com/blog or on our YouTube channel at getfullyfundedtv.com. And if you want more help with grants, we offer all kinds of grant services here at Get Fully Funded. We can help you research and find the right opportunities. We can review grants for you. We can coach you through the strategy, or we can even write them for you. Email us at support@getfullyfunded.com for more info on getting help with grants. Until next time, bye. Happy fundraising.